Dyslexia, which affects how the brain handles information it sees and hears. Dyslexic people may find it difficult to match letters to sounds and to remember how to spell words. They may even see letters moving around when they're reading. They might have trouble telling left from right. Remembering lots of instructions can be especially hard. They may need more thinking time to remember the right word.
Chicken! No, wait. Duck!
As well as memorizing sequences. It may be difficult for them to hold a pencil and to write by hand. Even organizing themselves can be difficult. But everyone with dyslexia is different. It can affect how people feel about themselves. When they struggle with a task that other people find easy, they may feel frustrated, angry, or sad. Some dyslexic people try to hide their difficulties because they are worried about what others will think of them. However, thinking differently can be a really good thing.
I think for me was, I knew I couldn't do factory jobs because it's all just manual work. But one particular job I did do, I will say, because it was a wonderful company, I worked for American Express, and they were absolutely accommodating. Not as my dyslexia, but they were actually accommodating for me being trans. So it was actually the first time that I actually acknowledged and recognized that I was trans, because they actually taught it in their training about trans people. And I mean, it was taught by a cis man, heterosexual cis man, which is like, unheard of these days. I don't think they do that anymore. Now, this has nothing to do with dyslexia, although I'm gonna get to it. They actually had a special training section to teach people about trans people. And this is like way back in the 90s. And it was part of their training. It was amazing. But it wouldn't work now. It just wouldn't, because it was so confronting. I didn't know that I was trans at that time. It was the 90s. And it was, I think there was one point they were saying anybody, they were kind of like pointing at me and like to say, put your hand up if you're trans. It was that kind of thing. It was a bit too much. But anyways, back to American Express. I'm learning that I'm trans, but I'm also learning how to navigate and how to make this job work for me, because the training manual was a lot of reading, and I couldn't read. So what I did, I couldn't read all these big words. I could read those simple words, but those big words I couldn't read. And so what I had done, I actually took the manual home, and you're not supposed to, but I did. So I took the manual home, and I would I bought a dictionary, and I would highlight every word that I couldn't pronounce and every word that I didn't know. I would highlight it and look it up in the dictionary to find out what it actually means, or try to pronounce it. But it was more so, what does it mean? So I know what this paragraph means. That worked for me. But if you notice that I talk really fast sometimes, that's one of the things that I've had to learn to do in order to cover up my dyslexia, because that's another thing that I had to try and do, is try not make people aware that I had dyslexia. So I would try and speak in there fast as them, and sometimes I just don't speak at all, so they wouldn't know, because my normal speaking pace is actually a little bit slower, and I don't mean that in the derogatory term. I really don't think that my dyslexia will ever go away. And right now, I'm coping, I'm learning, but I'm trying to keep up like everybody else. And it is a struggle, really is, but I'll get there. I think what would have helped then even now, is if I knew there was a community of people who had the same situation as me, where we are able to connect and bounce back, and or just be able to connect. Because right now I just feel like I'm the only person that has dyslexia. Everybody else will make fun of dyslexia by saying things like, oh, that was my dyslexia, which there was an issue that I had a while ago, which I get into now. And it's different for me because sometimes people don't believe that I have dyslexia, because sometimes I'll say things and you would think, but how? And that is one of the issues, is what I was talking about. Some things I can be pretty much in advance, but other things, I'm not. So I have to pick the things that I know inside out. Yeah, I know I should actually do something myself, like organize something now, which I have been thinking about and pondering on for the past 5 years, to be very honest with you. I wanted to create this Facebook community page about people with dyslexia, but there's so many other things that were happening in my life that it just got pushed aside. And even now there's many things happening, but I really would want to spend more time in organizing that, because I don't think there's enough. There's a lot of stuff for kids, which is amazing, it should be, but stuff for adults, which would be great, because it's different. Our dyslexia, it changes as you become an adult. So for me, when I plan something or create something, it just can't be done straight away. It's got to have some planning before I put it out there, So if I'm going to run a community face page for those with dyslexia, I've got to see what I want to come of it. What do I want out of it for other people? Not just, I don't want it to be like a chat thing. That will be already there, but I want it to be bigger than that. But anyways, so being today, where my dyslexia is today, it's okay. It's okay. It's a little bit more better than before. One of the things that is helping me deal with, having to cope with dyslexia is admitting it to myself and actually educating other people and telling people, could you repeat that again? And if they question, look, I have dyslexia, so just bear with me. It's actually just doing that. And and I have done that a few times, and my goodness, people suddenly become more condescending, or the eyes roll up. But I have to learn not to care. Either you tell me this information, or I'm just walking away and I'm done with it. So I'm learning that. I'm learning not to care what other people think. Just give me the information that I need to know, and I'll be out of your way. That's what I've learned. I've learned not to care. As well as admitting it to yourself, is knowing that having dyslexia is also something beautiful. Like, it's not something to be ashamed of. You should be proud of it. I think I come from the era, which a lot of us do, where anything that is different than the norm is to be ashamed of. We should never be ashamed of that part of us. That's part of who we are. That's who you are, and you should never be ashamed. Just like you should never be ashamed of you. I'm learning that. Just be yourself, be myself, be me, and be proud of me. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope this has been interesting for you. I hope it's been quite powerful, and I will see you till next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.